It's that time of year where we need to start thinking about packing things in. But one way to pack things in properly actually can include seed saving and or propagation. So today's video, we're going to go over seed saving, why it's important from a science perspective, as well as what you can propagate or what you should propagate. And this is completely based on my experience in the past. I'm not going to tell you to propagate something that's difficult or impossible to propagate or just becomes too leggy indoors. That won't be the case. I'll give you examples of stuff that's valuable. So first off, let me convince you as to why you should be seed saving from your garden. When it comes to seed saving out of your own garden, you're actually grabbing seeds that have been acclimated to your climate. This includes everything: your temperature, your precipitation, the amount of sunlight you have, how long your season is, disease, pests, the actual elevation, you name it. And this isn't just me saying it. It actually has been proven by science. So there was a study published in PubMed, and it reads, local adaptation of seeds and seedling traits along with the natural aridity gradient may both predict and constrain adaptive responses to climate change. Now, what that title is saying and what the study itself is saying is that when they looked at the species of tomato and they compared it to same species of tomato across multiple different climate areas, it's not referencing climate changes in like the political version of it. It's referencing climate changes in like the change between Saskatchewan and California type thing. So as they assessed these tomatoes across the various different areas, they did notice there were small adaptive traits or genes that were turned on because of what they were being exposed to. So what this means is if you seed save from a crop that performed well last year, then you're more likely to succeed the following years. Flowers, it actually holds true for the forestry industry as well. So if you are purchasing apple trees or shrubs or perennials, anything that you root mass wise are going to put into your garden this fall and or in the spring, there was a large study done and it was called the provenance trials. So what they looked at, provenance is simply referencing the area it was in. Now, local provenance plants performed well. So what that means is that plants born in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, grown in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, the seeds or the runners or whatever the offspring is taken from that Saskatchewan area and then planted here in Saskatchewan did remarkably better than the one you grabbed at Canadian Tire and then brought, to your backyard. So if you want, or if you've had issues with getting some of this stuff established, this may be something you actually want to look at because it can make a huge difference. And it's something that I personally think you should do when we're talking perennials, shrubs, and trees, purely because of the price of them and the fact that they're already difficult to establish as is. So if you're taking cuttings or if you've got neighbors with cuttings right now, raspberries with runners, whatever the case is, grab those before you go and grab anything from the store. So when it comes to seed saving, you can't just save them from any plant. There are some restrictions to this, so let's go over those. First off, anything that has been labeled open pollinated or heirloom is true to nature. It is a clone of itself. So these ones, if you harvest them and get the seeds from them, they will in turn give you the same result. Hybrids, F1 hybrids, anything that says hybrid on it is a wild card. And by wild card, I don't mean it's going to give you Frankenfood that's going to make you sick or it won't produce at all. But what it will do is it will express genes from the plants that went into making said plant. So mom and dad have two very different genes, and those will be expressed in your garden. Now, I never find this to be, I say seeds from hybrids all the time. I don't find them to be drastically different. The most I've seen is one plant is maybe shorter than the other. The other plant maybe has a thicker stem than the other, which makes sense because the hybridization of plants is done to get specific characteristics. For example, a shorter, stouter tomato plant or a tomato plant with a thicker stem to be able to withstand more mechanical manipulation, that sort of thing. So it's not like you're not going to get fruit. You're going to get fruit. It's just the plants themselves are going to be expressed in multiple different ways. You're going to end up with kind of a lottery when it comes to the plants it produces, but there's no reason why you can't harvest from them. The only reason you wouldn't want to harvest from them comes down to solely if you have mild OCD and you want to make sure you're getting exact clones, then you can't do hybrids. So once you've determined if it's a seed you want to save based on its designation, open pollinated heirloom or hybrid, you then want to look at the plant itself and see if there's any characteristics in that plant that you prefer. So if you have a tomato that was particularly delicious, then those are seeds you may want to save. If there's a flower that seems to be outperforming the flowers in that same kind of seed pack, and you really like that one in particular, then that is one that you want to grab seeds from. This is where you get to be a little bit picky and curate your collection over time. Now, I'm not going to go into too much the gelatinous coating seeds and how to save those. I have a whole video on that. If I forget to put it here, remind me, Geek Crew. But go check this out. I go through saving cucumber and tomato seeds. The fermentation method is not necessary. I show you how to do it without the fermentation method. But everything else is pretty simple. You literally just grab the head of the flower. For me personally, I grab the head of the flower. I leave the petals in place, all of it. And then I don't have to write down what it is. I can look at it and be like, oh, this was a pink zinnia. This was a marigold that had a little bit of red in it, that sort of thing. So when it comes to things like peppers, obviously, I just take the seeds, toss them in, and you have to label those because you can't tell a habanero seed from a jalapeno seed, unfortunately. But those are just some really quick tricks to try. But what I do want to talk about, and something I didn't talk about in that video where I talked about the saving of seeds and the gelatinous coatings, is that all seeds have to be kept at 8% or less moisture. So they do not do well being saved in closed Ziploc bags. You'll want to go for those paper envelopes wherever possible. At a minimum, paper towel inside of a Ziploc bag or a desiccant package inside of a Ziploc bag to help get below that 8%. Now, interestingly enough, science has shown for every 1% lower we're able to get the moisture, we can double the viability of that seed. So say your seed is normally only able to germinate after a year. If you were to drop it 1% lower, you would then get 2 years out of it. So it's something where you're like building up a seed bank and you actually don't intend to plant everything that you take off this year. Then it's something you maybe want to look at. Desiccant packages, for me personally, those ammo containers are great. They've got I rip out the foam padding, of course, and then you kind of put your envelopes in there. You can put your desiccants in there, latch it, lock it up so no moisture can get in. It works good because it keeps bullets from getting hit with too much moisture. So my idea was it'll work on seeds too. And it does. It does work. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is propagation and division. So division is for the perennial side of things. Let's talk about that first. So for example, if you want to save bulbs from garlic that performed well, now's the time to divide those and then plant them. If your garlic sprouts, that is okay. That's completely normal. If you want to look at dividing up like a hosta or an iris, anything like that, right now is a great time to do so because it allows you a little bit of time to water and get some of those roots established. And it also prevents the transplant shock you sometimes get in the spring, which in turn leaves the plant really struggling throughout the summer. Now, when it comes to propagation, personally, Geek Crew, I believe the best ones to do this with are the soft tissues because they're very easy. So we're talking wandering dudes. There's a lot of versions of wandering dudes out there. Pepper plants, tomato plants, if you wanted, tend to do okay. So wandering dudes are probably one of my more favorite ones, or a number of different succulents, coleus. I personally find those ones to be the easiest to manage when it comes to propagating because they don't need a lot of light. You can put them in a jar of water and then pop them up onto a windowsill. And they do fine for the winter there. You can plant them if you want to, but you don't have to plant them, which means you get to skip the headache that is gnats.
Geek Crew, I completely forgot when I was filming this because I am running very low on sleep, and I'll show you why I'm running low on sleep at the end of this if you want to stay tuned to find out why. But you can overwinter peppers. I've done an entire video on this. I do this every single year, and it works really well. So yeah, and then if you want to see something really cute, stick around to the end, because my life the last 2 weeks has been something.
However, the harder tissue plants, for example, perennial plants or anything that has like a woody stem in it, they tend to be a little bit more difficult. And if you want to go that route, I would actually encourage you to get the growth hormone for it, which is it's auxin is essentially what it is. And so that does make a big difference, and it makes it more likely that it's going to make it, because otherwise semi-soft wood, hardwood, like those ones are very hard to propagate. So I always like to go with something that's a little bit more tender. So when it comes to actual seeds and seed saving, you want to save 2 to 3 times the amount that you believe you want to plant peas and beans, and you've planted this year 20 plants. Then this year you want to, no, don't get it on the camera, Len. People are going to think he's like a Great Dane or I'm really short. So if you want 20 pea plants, for example, you want to save 60 pea plant seeds. And the reason for this is because your germination rates aren't going to be perfect when you've saved your own seeds. You don't know how your storage methods are going to work out yet. And you can expect somewhere around 30% rate of germination, which is completely normal when you begin doing this. So 2 to 3 times the amount that you believe you need the following year. You can, of course, do more, but if you're limited for space, that's what you want to aim for. So Geek Crew, you have to let me know in the comments down below if you save seeds, which plants you save seeds from. I know many people on the Geek Crew actually have heirloom seeds that they've been passed down generation from generation. And that is so special and so unique. You have to let me know what it was that your family decided to bring down. I know quite a few Italians, it's tomatoes. For some people in the Philippines that I know, it's runner beans. So you have to let me know culturally which seeds were the most valuable to be passed down. I love stories like that, to say the least. And let me know in the comments below if you've never seed saved before, but you're choosing to seed save now. If you liked today's video, hit that subscribe button, give it a like, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.
So 3-ish weeks ago, my dog at the farm was attacked and killed by coyotes, because coyotes are evil. And then coyotes decided to come and eat the cat's mom of these, what was 4. I did lose one at like 1:30 at night. And so yeah, I found kittens in a barn that were motherless and very lethargic and knocking on death's door. They could barely walk. This little black guy his eyes weren't even open. I've had him for about 2 weeks now. And they're doing well. They've been bottle fed lots, and now they're on soft food. But they're a ton of work. It's like a ton of work. But they love me, as you can tell. And yeah, I'm a cat mom of 3 now, but it was just very unfortunate circumstances. So if you've been DMing me on like Instagram or like commenting and being like, why is she not commenting? It's because this is my life, like 24/7 right now. Ton of work, but I'm sure it'll be rewarding when they go to loving homes one day. So soon, hopefully. I don't know. I think you have to wait till like 8 weeks, or I have to wait at least until I'm done bottle feeding them. But yeah, this is Max. This is the one that almost died. Yeah, I don't know. If you guys want more videos, I got tons more. I got tons more of my dog trying to play with them. When they were like very itsy bitsy, I have some videos of that. But yeah, I'm tired because of this. So when you're bottle feeding every 2 hours in the beginning, cat moms need to go on strike. That's all I have to say.